Australia. Vast, remote, hostile.
Bloody hell, what a trip!
A dangerous place
Holy
to be a pilot. Battling hazardous terrain with split-second decisions.
Still at 35,000 volts. Jesus me.
Men and women getting the job done.
Welcome to the war. This is it here.
These are Australia's Outback Pilots.
bloody hell!
Putting it all on the line for a life in the skies.
That's the Outback flying. You get what you get.
This time on Outback Pilots, Repper calls for reinforcements.
Okay, mate, here we go.
In a dogfight with danger to complete the mission and go home.
I've got...
On a wing and a prayer, David Shrimpton tackles unholy instruments
Oh, that was a real muck-up.
to follow his calling into the Outback. While police pilot Rob Majetic faces a deadly traffic jam.
Traffic.
On the beat at 18,000 feet.
What's going on here?
Well, brother, we're going to smash some work now. Big smile on my face.
In the deep south of Western Australia, crop dusting team Repper and Ditchy are a week behind schedule on their biggest job ever.
Park wherever you want.
They've hired an extra pilot. Dave Travers has just flown 2,000 kilometres across the continent.
Welcome to the Wicked West, mate.
Mate, thank you.
Big machine,
But things are off to a bad start.
Have you got an adapter? I didn't think of that. Have you got an adapter? 3 to 2? Wow.
Without the right hose connection, Dave's plane can't be loaded with chemicals.
Obviously it hasn't been discussed before he got here. So now we're running around trying to find a male 3-inch fitting.
Is there one in the trailer?
No, we've only got a male, we need a female.
Already behind schedule, they can't afford any more delays.
Nothing on that boom spray?
No, I'm having a look.
Okay.
The boys are spraying a canola crop with fungicide on a massive farm east of the town of Esperance, notorious for wild weather with high winds.
No, I can't find anything at the moment.
As Ditchy and Dave continue to search for an adapter, Repper's flying into something far more serious.
You on channel there, Ripper?
Yeah, mate.
When will you be up in the power lines, you think?
I've got... I'm going over them right now. Far out, there's freaking power lines in here, eh?
Hit one of these at over 250 kilometres per hour, and it's curtains.
I've got to be pretty careful around here. I've got to keep an eye on where the wires are, just in case someone's come out and dropped another wire in I didn't know about in the last 6 months. You know, you can be flying over a wire. A mate of mine last year or the year before flew straight into it. And the wire come through and tore his top of his cab off and tore his tail off.
Yeah, channel Rip?
Sorry, yeah, I was just bouncing around in between some wires then, that's all.
As Repper continues to dodge disaster, on the ground, Dave and Ditchy still can't find an adapter.
We've got a 3-inch female there.
Rip that off, eh?
I guess that'll do for now, I guess.
With more time lost, Dave's keen to get into the air, but Repper wants him to go slow.
No rush. That's how we'll have a up if we're rushing around.
With 2 planes spraying, the fields can be covered in half the time.
Oh, Ditchy's going to have his it out. One plane goes, another one comes in.
But for Ditchy, it means twice the workload.
People coming and going and bloody two planes.
It's going to turn into chaos.
Even worse, hired help Scotty is nowhere to be seen.
It's good having two planes, but young Scotty got on the piss and didn't rock up, so I'm going to get into him when he gets here.
It doesn't take long for bedlam to begin.
Is it coming up?
Nah.
Just had a tasking request from Water Police for your flight between Darwin and Gove this morning.
In the Northern Territory, Police Air Wing pilot Rob Majetic has been assigned to help disrupt a coastal drug trafficking ring.
Water Police are concerned that people may be attempting to smuggle prohibited substances from the mainland across to Goulburn.
Okay.
He needs to get in the air quickly.
Military airport, mate.
But on the runway, the American military has other ideas.
The Air Force are always first. So when it's something like that, they can take their time, and they do.
It's a huge 83,000 kilogram B-52 bomber.
If we have to wait for them, it'll be a reasonable wait.
Delays could see the drug smugglers Rob's searching for escape the net.
Looks like it's going to be a long day today.
Based in Darwin, Air Wing has 8 pilots on call around the clock,
I'm not going to leave him high and dry, may as well give him a hand.
helping police with a hostile beat, almost 4 times the size of Germany.
Such a vast landmass, heaps of river crossings to get to these places, so that's where we fit in.
Air Wing uses the Pilatus PC-12, $5 million worth of high-tech aircraft.
And we can get the job done really quickly so that they can keep on policing.
But today, he's stuck behind a fleet of US heavy bombers.
Here he goes. Watch him go. Pretty amazing. Takeoff performance for such a large aeroplane to be taking off in such a short distance.
Nearly 49 metres in length, with a 56-metre wingspan. Even after the B-52s get airborne, it's still not safe on the runway.
Behind these guys, we have to wait anyway, because they've got massive weights and big turbulence behind them.
Rob finally gets the all clear, but now time is against him.
What's happened now is that it's set us back a good half an hour to 45 minutes. Trying to make up time will be interesting, especially that we've now got to go slow to try and get any boats there.
Rob is the eyes in the sky for a police boat below.
I guess you guys want to know of any boat at all that I spot along the coast there? That's correct. Looking for vessels moving between the mainland and Warrawee. Looking for the boats, that's it. Catamarans, whatever it might be.
So far, nothing. Suddenly, Rob spots a suspicious vehicle.
We saw something at the old boat ramp there. Looked like it was a four-wheel drive with a trailer. It may have been housing a boat underneath it. We'll have another closer look.
Airstrip's there on our left-hand side. Take the power down, 1800 RPM.
For one man, life in the outback skies is an act of faith.
Some people have said I'm the God botherer. I've had people say to me, yeah, not a problem, come out, but don't bring any of that God stuff with you.
David Shrimpton is the flying padre.
I was ordained in Melbourne, and out at the airport there was this big sign on the fence, learn to fly from $2,000. It was amazing. This little plane, it took off like a rocket.
In a Cessna 182, David reaches some of the country's most isolated people.
How you doing?
Bringing pastoral care to pastoralists.
You're a listening ear. Anything that is done in a church in town can be done out on a station.
Flying out of Broken Hill in remote New South Wales, his parish spans an area larger than Italy, but contains just 500 properties.
This is a tough environment, this western New South Wales. Landing strips out here, some of them are on clay pans. When it gets a bit wet, it'll get slippery. Then we've got gravel, and that creates other issues. And then you've got the very fine sandy soils. They get very boggy.
Despite the hazards, David's determined to reach his parishioners. Times have been tough in this part of Australia, with high rates of depression and suicide.
The station owners out here have had 4 or 5 years of really tough, dry times. It does affect their mental well-being.
Today, David's leaving on his next mercy mission. He needs to check the welfare of the most remote members of his flock.
It's not a 9 to 5 job, it's 24/7.
Over the next 3 days, he'll cover nearly 1,000 kilometres and make it back to Broken Hill in time for his Sunday service. First, a 110-kilometre flight south to Pindara Station to check on a woman who suffered a recent loss.
And there's Pindara just over there on the nose.
Out here, it's not just the state of the strips a pilot needs to worry about.
There were some tracks going across it.
Kangaroos weighing up to 100 kilograms are a constant hazard.
And being late afternoon, it's quite possible that the roos might be either side.
In a small Cessna 182, hitting one of these at 150 kilometres an hour could be fatal.
Oh, roos.
Bloody hell, that didn't take long. I'm not supposed to be sweating.
Halfway across the continent, Ditchy is struggling to juggle 2 planes. A no-show from farmhand Scotty isn't helping.
I heard that he was stopping in town to watch that WCF or whatever you call it.
UFC?
Yeah.
I'll give him UFC.
Adding to the pressure, new pilot Dave is unfamiliar with the team's refuelling procedure. He keeps blocking Repper from reloading with fungicide.
Well, if he's doing that again...
If he needs fuel again, get him to park over here if you want.
Well, you got to tell him.
I will.
It'll be better coming from you than me. He might tell me to off.
They are already days behind schedule. If Ditchy can't keep up, 2 planes isn't going to help. It's going to cost.
I'm going to bloody flog Scotty when I see him.
Slowly, the boys start getting a rhythm going.
Hey, you want fuel?
And finally, the missing Scotty turns up.
Mate, duty calls, you know. When you got a hot Tinder date, you got to go for it.
Well, I suppose I was young once. He's normally pretty good, so it must have been a big night.
But just as things are beginning to run smoothly...
Looks like it's about an hour away. My estimate, maybe half.
bad weather threatens.
There's a line of showers there getting a bit close, but I'll try this one and see how it goes.
The boys need to make up time, but can't spray in wet weather.
Got to let the chemical stick to the leaf and then let it dry on the leaf. The rule of thumb is usually 3 hours before heavy rain.
What do you reckon, Ditch? You're an Esperance boy.
What's that?
How much rain are we going to get?
As much as comes out of them clouds, mate.
If that's the police boat there, they're the ones that'll intercept anyone that may seem suspicious.
In the far north, police pilot Rob Majetic is patrolling for drug smugglers.
This is going to do a bit of a steeper turn here. Not sure if it was a camper trailer. It may have been housing a boat underneath it. We'll have a closer look. That just looks like a tent. No, we'll be right. Let's keep going.
Next, a four-wheel drive with a boat trailer. He checks in with the police sitting just off the coast.
Did you notice that there's another white four-wheel drive parked maybe a couple hundred metres away from you guys? Yeah, Roger's been there for about 4 years. Rightio, thanks, mate.
Finally, Rob sees a boat that fits the profile.
We just spotted a tent going around? Looks like it's in pretty good nick. Yeah, give us a late long it over. South 11, 46, 03. East 133, 31, 25.
The police will now watch from the water, waiting for any smugglers to return.
Thanks, guys. That's it for me. I'm off to go. Right, thank you for your assistance. Have a nice one.
Rob's drug sweep has left him behind schedule and low on fuel.
We're late. Good half an hour, plus the refuel, so we're going to have to hurry it up a little bit.
His next task, pick up police from 2 isolated outposts. First stop, Gove Peninsula.
Here we are.
But on landing, a problem.
Just found out that the refueler is in town. So we have a good 20-minute wait until he rocks up, gets his truck ready and stuff. So we're already lagging behind. So, yeah, we're having a bit of a blowout with our day.
And your traffic into Romeo Mike on final.
Over 2,000 kilometres south, the Flying Padres heading towards trouble.
Yeah, there's some roos on the side. Well, they're big fellas too.
Wild kangaroos are dangerously close to the strip.
A couple of mobs here.
As David approaches the landing,
Oh, roos. Get out the way of the roos.
Sometimes you can see them, other times you can't. It's in a sense hold tight and hope the kangaroo will hit the anchors and go back the way they came.
Looking. Nothing coming across. A good landing is one you can walk away from. We can do that today.
Barb Arnold runs Bindara Station. David has been helping her through a difficult time.
Father God, we thank you for this day. We ask for your blessing on us and our families. Amen.
I think it was a bit of a miracle how I got to meet David. I'd lost a member of family very close to me, and we talked about it, and my problem bubbled out of me, and it was exactly what I needed at the time, and I thought, well, that's a load off my shoulders.
What they tell you, it's important to them, and you've got to keep it close to your chest. It's just being there and listening.
Early next morning, the Padre needs to keep moving.
Thanks, Barb.
No worries.
See you again. Now, we'll be right to take off. No wind. Beautiful.
Next stop, a sheep station further south. But on startup...
Not sure why the gyro's doing it. It's as if the airflow is not doing the right thing.
The plane's attitude indicator is dangerously faulty.
So it should be sitting square. It's bizarre. I've never seen that do that before. Never.
It's an important instrument to help the pilot keep the plane level. If he can't fix it, the Flying Padre could be grounded.
Yeah, mate. A little bit of a shower of rain coming through here.
Repper, Ditchy and Dave are praying for the weather to hold so they can continue spraying.
So one more, is that correct?
Downing tools now will cost them $30,000 a day and even more time away from their families.
We're worried about getting washed out, so we're just going to hold off on the next load and see what happens.
The wind's straight on our nose. Getting a bit...
The boys' prayers.
Yeah, see, it says today 95% chance, 10 to 15.
Go unanswered.
Oh, look like the rain's got them. You can see it going across there now. I'd say that might be it for the day.
It looked like it was going to bucket down up here. We'd rather be safe than sorry.
While the heavens open up,
A bit frustrating.
the team counts the cost.
I'm worried about these 2 days off we're supposed to be having when we finish these big jobs. these couple of days off that Rep keeps dangling in front of me. I think it's just a big carrot to keep me here, to keep him loading.
Yeah, we'll get our days off.
And there's big money we're making. My money hasn't changed.
It's good work when you're working, but you've got to be available. We're totally reliant on the weather and things that we can't control. So you just sort of have to get used to that bit, grin and bear it, I guess.
Could be worse. Could be stuck in a house with a couple.
Meanwhile, cattle have roamed into the paddock and are tearing up the sodden airstrip. Next day, the storm has passed, leaving behind treacherous conditions.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this. We've obviously had a lot of rain out here. They've had cattle up here too. You can see the tracks and shit everywhere. Don't know how the pilots are going to go.
The airstrip will need to be inspected to see if it's safe.
Come and have a look. It's
Got a truck up there?
Have a go. But I don't reckon it'll make it.
But it's not the aircraft they should be worried about.
We need to get it up there for fuel if they're going to start working anyway. Honestly, don't think he's going to make it. And that's where it stops.
The ops bloke hasn't just informed me that the refuelers are not here.
On Gove Peninsula in the top end, police pilot Rob Majetic is grounded waiting for a fuel truck.
So he's driving in now to get his truck ready and refuel us.
Time is ticking away and he needs to get to his next pickup.
These guys are an absolute lifeline for us, for getting off the island, and just I can't say enough about how great a job they do.
Yay, here he is. Howdy. 210 aside, please. Yes, he's finally here.
But filling long-range tanks takes time.
Already an hour late. That's just the way it goes.
The Pilatus flies at high altitude and needs an anti-icing agent added to the fuel.
Let's go, guys.
Rob's refueled and heading for Elko Island. He must shift a whole patrol to a new location. But on arrival...
1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9.
No. Are your boys coming back on this?
Yeah, it's got to be chockers.
There's too many cops and too much gear.
I think we're going to have to pay excess.
Well, I'm serious.
You are?
I'm absolutely serious. We've got a plane load full of you blokes going across. This is the most critical leg, this one.
He'll need to jettison something, or an entire police patrol will be out of action.
You can't leave our gear.
That's your way there, and that'll show you whether you're up or down to the horizon.
In remote New South Wales, the Flying Padre is in a spin.
You should be sitting square.
A faulty attitude indicator spells trouble. Without it, a pilot can lose his bearings, especially in poor visibility.
Okay, we'll do an engine check.
He's praying a restart will fix it.
That's where it should be.
It looks like it's going to settle down, then it doesn't. As long as I don't concentrate on that, all will be well.
David's hoping that once in the air, the instrument will right itself.
And off we go.
If it doesn't, this mercy mission will be over.
Settle down, good. A bit of a worry when that happens. Looking good now. And we'll pick up our track for Chalky Well.
Set in 120 square kilometres of rugged terrain, Chalky Wells Station has a makeshift landing strip.
A little bit harder to pick out than a lot of other strips because it's just in the paddock.
David's aiming for nothing more than a rough grass field.
Got to go over this little hill.
You could fly in there and it looks all right from the air, but once you get and land, you could be in grass 6 inches tall. You can't see if there's sticks or stones or anything.
It's right in front of us. There's plenty of grass on it. Oh, don't want to hit that.
I don't have nothing to get in the truck anymore.
On a weather-delayed job, Repper and Ditchy's fuel truck is still bogged.
I'm just going to back ditch and try and cut across to me left there. Is it hard underfoot?
If they can't get it to the plains to refuel, no amount of dry weather will get them off the ground.
Yeah, it's worse up the top. Yeah, I don't know, mate.
Oh, we'll see how we go.
Reckon you'll get there, mate?
Repper has pulled through, but straight into another problem.
Cattle have been up here, fresh cow everywhere.
Yeah, you're right to spin that around. I'll go and get these cattle off the strip.
Cows and rain have turned the airstrip into a mud bath. The priority now is making sure they can take off and land safely.
I might just take a lighter load out just to start with. I don't know if we get across when we just come like this.
Repper volunteers for the test.
I'll see you in the paddock.
Slide out of control or hit a boggy patch and he could destroy the plane and himself.
It's pretty slippery down there. I was trying to miss that mud too.
With the strip usable, the boys will have to go flat out to make up for lost time.
Dave and I'll work back to the east from this white track.
Both planes tear across the fields at 250 kilometres per hour, chewing up the acres. At last, they face the final paddock. But on the ground, Ditchy hits a massive speed bump.
That water coming out?
The pump supplying the chemicals to the planes is refusing to start.
How'd that get in there through the exhaust?
Problems? Yeah. Your tank full of water in it, I think so.
Not one thing, it's another.
All right, we'll take your essentials. I don't know when we're coming back next.
Rob Majetic's baggage blowout is threatening the transport of an entire police unit. To get airborne, he goes to the police station to try and cull the luggage.
All right, what's your most important stuff, man? Seriously? Oh, man, I'm sorry, dude. You're going to have to leave some of this stuff behind. We'll try and endeavour to get it across as soon as possible. I know it's painful for you. I know. But the plane, this is the most critical leg, so you'll have to just cut down on what you need, mate. Okay, good.
With the baggage reduced to essentials only, Rob and the police team are ready to go.
Yes, we're late. Hey, that's just the way the job is.
It's a smooth takeoff, and the plane soon reaches a cruising altitude of 18,000 feet.
Bravo traffic, Yankee Delta, Romeo, PC-12 is now 9 miles.
But there's scattered cloud cover, decreasing visibility. Rob needs to stay on guard.
3000, inbound arrival, 26 Romeo.
Trying to pick out the airstrip is not easy.
In remote New South Wales, the Flying Padre is on approach to one of the most dangerous landings in his vast parish.
On the left-hand side, just down here.
A grass field. A few old tyres are there to help judge the approach.
Power off, down we come. Just see the black tyres on it. Oh, don't want to hit that. It's a dead carcass. Go around to the left of that. A little bit rougher than some of the other strips I land on. But they've obviously had sheep in here.
G'day, Pete. How you doing?
Peter Linturn runs this 29,000-acre sheep farm.
It's not easy to pick from the air. You've really got to know what you're looking for.
The nearest neighbour is over 2 hours' drive away. A chat with a friendly face is a welcome break from the daily grind.
Kangaroos are our biggest issue at the moment.
Oh, they come in and hammer your house.
Yeah, they'll eat it. They were getting in here.
And the same with the goats, yeah.
Yeah, the goats. See,
but they're making money for
at least the goats,
yeah.
you can muster them and get a return on them.
With the Padre, Peter has a golden opportunity to check his farm from the air.
All good?
Yep.
Feeling comfortable?
Yep.
You didn't have a big lunch, did you?
I haven't had any lunch.
Ah, what?
It's also an opportunity for the Padre to check on Peter, even if it means keeping the conversation light.
Often blokes talk about life side by side with the interruptions of, oh, that fence needs fixing, or, oh, we've got a leak in the pipe there.
Didn't realise there's so much junk around.
Well, you're native to anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, your fence is pretty straight.
Yeah. Well, the neighbour put that one up.
Oh.
That's probably the reason. Yes, it certainly looks different from up here.
Oh, doesn't it?
Probably do with a few more tyres on here for you.
Just paint it white would be good.
Yeah.
And I'll catch up with you next time.
Mate, yeah. Well, thanks for that.
We haven't talked faith issues there, but that's okay. Yeah, in time, we may get onto that conversation. We may not. We'll wait and see.
The Flying Padre has one last pit stop, a sheep station to the west.
The wind, it can pick up or it can drop off. It can be coming across the strip or straight down the strip.
There's supposed to be a windsock at Kimberley. The last time I was in there, it had been blown to shreds. Gotta look for the pole. And the windsock's not there.
Unable to read the wind conditions on the ground, the Padre must descend into the unknown.
Oh, there is a bit of wind here.
Bravo traffic, Yankee Delta Romeo, PC12 now 9 miles.
Police pilot Rob is at 18,000 feet.
Bloody hell, see that? You see those two birds there? Bloody hell. They were bush turkeys or something. They were massive.
It's an extremely lucky escape. Hitting a bird at over 400 kilometres an hour could destroy an engine or tear a hole in the fuselage, killing everyone on board.
Oh my goodness. Sorry for swearing. Oh, mate. Traffic. What's going on here?
But Rob's not out of danger yet.
Traffic.
The crash alert system has picked up a plane inside the collision zone. Rob needs to take immediate evasive action.
Where the hell did he come from? No calls, no radio calls whatsoever. Why didn't you call? Yeah, traffic out of Ram. I've got you sighted there, mate. I've made a couple of radio calls and you haven't said anything to me at all. Bloody. It's just poor airmanship on his behalf. All right, here we go. It's all good.
The traffic collision avoidance system has saved the day.
TCAS, mate. There you go. How good's TCAS?
With 2 close calls, Rob's relieved to finally have the runway in his sights and get clearance to land.
Awesome. That's good news.
For Rob, it's the end of a massive day.
It could have been nasty. But hey, that's why the Pilatus PC-12 is such a good plane. It's got all the kit in it. It tells us, it gives us awesome situational awareness. And on this occasion, it did its job and it did it well.
Time to relax with the other pilots in blue.
Getting a bit blustery.
In Outback, New South Wales, gusting conditions have got the wind up the Flying Padre.
Very blustery. Oh. There is a bit of wind here. That was a real muck-up. Didn't come down properly. Oh, there's Chris. It must be cold. He's got his beanie on.
Hey, Dave. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. Where's the hat today?
Chris Bright runs this 80,000-acre station.
What's happening with this?
For you to look hard enough, for you to see that there, that, you know, with your bush experience.
Exactly.
Drought has meant hard times for Chris and his wife, Jan.
As always.
Summer, we had sheep in 2 paddocks, and there wasn't a thing to eat. It absolutely decimated.
They've survived by running on a shoestring, but this year there are signs the drought is breaking.
Righto, Dave, you and I are going to whip down to the bore now, put the sheep in the yard with the bike.
You got gloves for me?
No, no gloves. We don't wear gloves.
New lambs need to be mustered and tagged, but with no farm workers left, help from the Padre is a blessing.
Hey, through the fence is gone, yep.
Or is it? David can fly a plane, but can he ride a motorbike?
Follow it.
You go back behind him there, Dave.
Yep.
Go back behind him. Go, Padre! Job done. So I didn't believe in God. I do now because he sent us you.
Good on you. Only for a little while.
Thanks very much, David.
No worries,
It's been a
Chris.
pleasure.
Now for the final leg.
Jeremy, I might wind up and rolling or on my 2-9er.
A 150-kilometre flight north and back to Broken Hill.
Bit of flap down.
But first, he has to take off. The sandy earth is slowing him down.
Well, if it's really soft, doesn't matter how fast you're going, it'll still bog. Oh, those posts at the end are getting close. My goodness. Come on, 60 knots. Off we go.
The Padre faces a slow journey home.
We're pushing into a headwind, so it's going to take us a bit longer to get back to Broken Hill.
But David is a man of patience when it comes to spreading the word of God.
I'm not out there telling them they've got to be a Christian. No.
In a sense, it's making it light-hearted. It just sows that seed.
Finally, he's back in Broken Hill.
It's been a good day. I enjoy going out and doing something, and it's being prepared for almost anything. A problem shared is a problem halved.
At the 11th hour on his biggest contract ever, Repper and Ditchy's chemical pump is refusing to start.
Could have a bit of moisture in the fuel or something.
Spark plug or flooded, one of the two.
The team has just one more paddock to spray. If they don't finish it today, they may never.
It's supposed to be storms or something coming in again tomorrow afternoon. We're just sort of stagnating, sitting here, not being able to work.
Already a week over schedule, the farmer is losing his patience. And so is Ditchy.
I might even just headbutt into the truck and split my eye open or something, go get some stitches. Day off in hospital, better than day out in the paddock.
You want a bit of choke, do you think?
Huh?
Want some choke, do you think?
Never starts with the choke.
No?
Because I load planes, they think I'm an idiot. Little did they know I used to rebuild me Harley and all me dirt bike.
There you go. Beautiful.
Water dropped in the carby, so yeah, up and running now, so it's good to go.
But with the final field, the boys face a new problem.
It's not a square paddock, it's got a bit of an angle on it, so we'll just fill it in together. It's better than having missed any. Farmer will be all happy.
With it not being square, the best solution is to fly in tandem.
I'll peel to the right. I'll be on your left-hand side.
It takes huge skill and concentration to crop dust alone.
Okay, mate, here we go.
But with two planes flying just metres apart, the skill level and danger becomes extreme.
I'll just hold this line here, brother. I can't quite see you now. I'm right behind you.
With both planes reloading at the same time, Ditchy is pushed to the limit.
Hey, got fuel yet?
Right, next load.
So you going to take fuel now or wait?
No, I'll get out of your way, mate.
It's hanging out. I don't get paid enough to bloody get a bead of sweat going on.
And now the farm managers arrived, worried about delays.
Should be done today, eh?
Yep. Yeah, hopefully.
Not long now, we'll have this knocked out. We'll go like you did before, side by side. Sure. Tell you what, you got a pretty wild wake turbulence. It's pretty rough behind you here.
It's been a mammoth 7 weeks, tackling storms, power lines, birds, dust and mud.
You little beauty, we finished. Job well done.
Oh, bloody beautiful.
Oh, there you are, there you are.
Oh, yeah, I'm right on top of
you.
Long, drawn-out job.
Well done, Ditch.
Yeah, very good.
All right, let's go to the next one.
So just a couple of days R&R and catch up with my daughter. Go and spoil her, so that's the main thing. I just keep hounding him for those couple of days off. He's not breaking though, I'll give him that.
There you go, Dale.
Good, how are you?
Good. Guess what?
What?
Finally finished here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, finished the biggest job ever. Everything went smooth. It's a good feeling to knock this one out. The worst thing is we go to another place and start all over again.
Next time on Outback Pilots, heli-duster Brett Sommerlad gets in a spin.
Holy
Scott Anderson is wrenched from one Outback crisis to another.
Got that bloody tree line straight in front of where we need to be.
While Trevor and Josh dance with danger on a mega muster.
I'm having a hell of a time with the twins, man.
Australia. Vast. Remote. Hostile.
bloody hell, what a trip.
A dangerous place.
Holy
To be a pilot. Battling hazardous terrain. With split-second decisions.
Still at 35,000 volts. Jesus me.
Men and women getting the job done.
Welcome to the war. This is it here.
These are Australia's Outback Pilots.
Bloody hell.
Putting it all on the line for a life in the skies.
That's the Outback flying. You get what you get.
This time on Outback Pilots, heli-duster Brett Sommerlad takes protecting crops to a whole new level.
If I lose my concentration, she's all over.
Using every trick of the trade, Scott Anderson is wrenched from one Outback crisis to another.
If something goes sideways, you're not going to have a whole bunch of options to sort it out.
Trevor Riley and his mate Josh Wellington dance with danger on a mega muster.
I'm having a hell of a time. Put this twitch, man.
Flying through the narrow valleys of Queensland's Great Dividing Range, Brett Sommerlad must have faith in his chopper and his skill.
Every time I leave in the morning, I say a little prayer to make sure that I come back home at the end of the day.
It's some of the most dangerous flying there is.
It's not for the faint-hearted, this game. You hit a power line, it can be all over.
Veteran pilot Brett is a crop-dusting ace, keeping weeds out of crops and helping local farmers turn a profit.
There's a sense of achievement to be able to spray a crop and do a good job.
But in a split second, the risks could far outweigh the rewards.
If I lose my concentration for a few seconds, she's all over.
Brett couldn't succeed in the air without help on the ground.
As soon as he's on the ground, I can load him and he's gone again.
I like to fill the other side, but he's too lazy to walk around the other way.
You wouldn't ask for a better bloke, eh?
Steve Lawrence has worked as Brett's loader for over 11 years.
Thanks, Steve-O.
Mixing the chemicals for the helicopter's payload.
We keep a bit of pressure on him to make him perform.
I've got to get this mixed up pretty quick because Brenno will be back pretty fast.
If he hasn't got a load ready for me, well, I don't fly.
Keep him in the air, that's where the money is.
It's autumn in Queensland's agricultural heartland. Brett and Steve's busiest time of year. Farmers are in a rush to have crops treated before the weather turns bad. But for over a week, high winds have wreaked havoc on their heavy schedule.
The wind was up and we had a few showers floating around.
Brett's keen to make up for lost time and money.
If we can't fly, we don't get any income.
At last, the wind drops enough to get back in the air.
Hopefully the wind will hold out for us over the next couple of hours. Feel it's starting to push me around a bit. Pretty windy there.
Brett has nearly 20,000 hours of flying experience, and right now, he needs every minute of it.
Don't have enough power to climb up the hill. Here you can see we've got hills to our left, hills to our right. We've got to fly up this valley.
In Central Australia, places to land are as rare as water. The only airstrips are as rugged as the country they've been scraped into.
Runway 12 for full stop traffic around it.
Scott Anderson is making an emergency landing at the remote town of Arayonga. An ambulance waits at the ready.
Inbound for overflying the airstrip for a precautionary search prior to landing around the traffic.
On this landing strip, it's not just the rough dirt that Scott has to contend with.
The trick here is to miss the trees that are in the river just in front of where we want to go. Over the fence. Nice and gently because we're on rocks.
Safely down, he can now tackle the emergency. Scott Anderson is the flying plumber.
Get the old boxes out.
The crisis is a blocked toilet at an Outback hospital.
And without toilets, we'd be in a whole lot of trouble, wouldn't we?
Scott runs a plumbing business from Alice Springs in the Northern Territory.
Are you freezing? See, long pants and sleeves would be good today.
He covers an area the size of the UK. In the Outback, it's often more cost-effective to fly than drive.
Flying's so much quicker. A lot of the locations we go to take over a day to drive there, and the amount of work we have to do on the ground's only a couple of hours. With a plane, we can get there and back in the same day. Sometimes the roads aren't in very good condition, so if you have things like natural events, the road's closed.
But to make a profit, it's a constant race against the clock, and Scott needs just the right plane.
This is a Cessna 182, built by the Americans originally, I think, in 53 or 54. It's a tough, robust plane. It can carry plenty of weight, reasonably fast. This one has long-range tanks as well, which out here we need.
It's done.
It's a bit scary that way.
The biggest payoff is being able to spend more time with his wife Jackie and their young family.
Back in the old days, when you had to drive there, you'd be away weeks at a time. So for him to come home and, you know, within the day, if he's done a big, huge job, it's really good, especially, I think, while the kids are growing up.
Family man Scott is not just a flying plumber. He's also a stunt pilot with a Pit Special biplane.
Always like to spin it, so I've spun it a few times, which is what every pilot doesn't like doing because it's the scary stuff that kills you.
These skills he hopes will help him stay alive, flying in the outback.
If you practice it, you know, you get more efficient at getting yourself out of it. This is as tough as going to the gym. That's my fun bit. Now it's time to get that adrenaline to come down about 20 steps and go plumbing.
It's up there with one of the most dangerous jobs, I reckon. Like, you know, you don't get too many second chances if something goes wrong.
400 kilometres southwest of Cairns in tropical Queensland, chopper musterer Trevor Riley pits his Robinson R22 against vast cattle herds. It's a death-defying way to make a living.
Mum's not real overly happy, you know, as she knows it's a pretty dangerous industry. My wife and son think the same thing. I guess they just pray that I come home every day. I actually crashed too. One was just pilot error, and the other one, I got to the tree level and the engine just cut out and we just fell out of the sky pretty much, doing 80 knots. We did a few cartwheels, broke my sternum and broke a couple of ribs, but survived it. Pretty lucky.
Today, Trevor's helping out lifelong mate Josh Wellington muster a stubborn herd spread across 100 square kilometres on a station the size of a small country.
Known Trevor all my life. Pretty much one of the reasons why I decided I wanted to fly a helicopter, yeah. I used to go up flying with him and yeah, I thought that'd be a pretty good job to have. But I idolised him, wanted to be like him there for a little bit and like an older brother to me, eh? Flash good, see? Brand spank, mate.
This job will stretch the boys' lifelong partnership to the limit.
Tomorrow we're mustering some cattle for a bloke I know called Jimmy Pearson, and I think he's got about 1,200, 1,400 head out there.
Trucks are booked on a tight deadline. Missing it would delay the sale, worth close to $2 million.
We've got to try and get them together in a day so that we can truck them out.
The boys will be mustering on Barwidgee Station. There's been high rainfall and conditions aren't in their favour.
Plenty of grass about, you got a lot more feed and your cattle are sort of scattered, they're out and about.
They're actually flying over the country we're mustering tomorrow.
You've just got to cover a lot more country to get them together. It takes twice as long pretty much during the wet as what it does in the dry.
It's the morning of the muster. As the boys prep the choppers, cattle owner Jimmy drops a bombshell.
We've just heard from the fellow that owns the cattle that we have to do the whole paddock. We were planning on doing half, but something's changed with his trucking and yeah, we've got to get the whole lot in today.
With high winds, a scattered herd and twice the ground to cover, the boys will have to go all out to finish by sunset.
It's just going to make it a huge day. Pretty crucial that we get done before dark tonight, and she's going to be full noise all day.
It's still chopping and changing here a bit.
In South Queensland, crop duster Brett Sommerlad is fighting against dangerous winds.
You just flying by the seat of your pants all the time. Not real comfortable. You just feel it in the machine that it doesn't feel right.
Brett is forced to make a tough decision.
The wind is a bit too much, really.
It means leaving a vital job up in the air, and Brett and Steve grounded.
We'll just have to call it the day.
I know where it is. It's on the northern side of the gully.
Yeah.
The following morning, Brett and Steve are hoping their bad luck with the weather has changed.
They're forecasting like a southwesterly, but I don't think there's going to be much in it.
Yesterday, gusty winds turned this area into a no-fly zone.
Well, the weather today is looking really good.
This is Brett's chance to make up time and money.
We've got 4 or 5 growers to do, just to catch up on. Hopefully the wind will hold out for us. Timing's critical.
Righto, I'll see you over there.
First up, 90 acres of weed-infested farmland, 70 kilometres away.
Yeah, Steve's gone ahead. That way, then there's no waiting around.
Old girl's ready for another day's work.
The wind is forecast to pick up later in the day. The race is on to get spraying.
The weather's been against us, so get as many of these guys out of the road as we can. We've got to make hay while the sun shines. When the opportunity's there, we go as hard and as fast as we can to get to site before Brett gets there.
He'll have all the chemicals all organised, what to spray on the crop. I turn up after 10 or 15 minutes and hopefully the hard work's done.
But the narrow dirt roads are slowing Steve up, and now he has to get off them altogether.
It's only a bit of a track through the paddock, so you just take your time and don't want to break nothing.
Brett's arrived in good time, but Steve's nowhere to be found.
How far away are you? Oh, maybe 10 minutes, eh? Alright, take your time.
Hopefully the wind will hold out anyway.
Just got to take our time and just wind our way in. We'll get there.
At last, he pulls up.
Half the day's over.
Brett wants the chopper loaded with chemicals quickly, so he can get working.
Just set up my hoses and we'll be right to go.
But then...
We got a seal that's bugging in the pump.
The pump filling the helicopter's tank with pesticide has a fault. It would be a quick fix.
You haven't got that little socket set?
No, I haven't got a socket set.
No, that's handy. Isn't it?
Only Steve has forgotten the toolbox.
Pissing out, no.
Without a working pump, the day will be over before it's even begun.
Welcome to beautiful downtown Arionga.
At Arionga in remote central Australia, Scott, the flying plumber, is on an emergency job at a medical clinic.
A lot of time you go remote and you've got to stay overnight because you lose a day travelling.
Today's job is far from glamorous, but it's vital.
I always like the deep end first. So what's going on with this one is there's a lot of dissolved mineral in the water in this community. The best way to fix the valves once it gets into the valves is simply replace them and it'll be fully awesome. Or as fully awesome as a toilet can get. Unfortunately, now my wife knows I know how to do this. I'm not going to get out of it ever again, am I?
After the toilet, it's onto a blocked sink.
It doesn't smell very pleasant, but... Hey, that worked magically.
The last job is a leaking water pipe in the ceiling that's threatening the emergency room.
I reckon this has done this for a little while, looking at this.
For the community, this medical centre is essential. If it floods, the nearest help is over 3 hours away.
Now we're up in here.
I think it actually might even be further back on the pipeline.
You know the butane box and stuff we had made up, is that with you or is that back at the workshop?
Scott doesn't have the right part to fix it.
The job did grow, which can happen.
He'll need to head back to base, leaving the medical centre without water. Scott now faces a 170-kilometre trip, and dusk is falling.
Single-engine aircraft at night. That'll be the toughest flying going. Just can't bloody see anything. What's the problem? Wind's up already this morning. Lovely, isn't it?
Best mates Trev and Josh are at full throttle, searching for 1,200 head of cattle. They have just one day to find them and round them up into holding yards.
The most dangerous thing with mustering is you're in the dead man's curve all day. It's kind of an area you don't want to be flying in, but you have to. Low airspeed, low altitude.
In the dead man's curve, there's no time to respond if something goes wrong.
We've got to be in it most of the day because of the pace that the cattle go.
I hope these cattle aren't way back down this back corner, eh? I hope not either. Anyway, we can only do what we can do.
And the job is a whole lot harder than they originally thought.
Right, buddy.
Cattle owner Jimmy doubled the area he wants the boys to cover.
It's about 100 square mile the most of the day, and they've got to bring cattle from way at the back there and bring them towards us.
I wonder why he's opted to do the whole paddock, you know, like Dad. Don't see a reason why you got to do it all in the one go.
Choppers are pretty dear every minute they're ticking over. It's all costing money, you know, and you want to make sure you don't miss nothing and just get everything that's here.
Bleeding over $4,000 a day for the choppers alone, Jimmy faces a massive cost blowout if the boys don't finish by sunset.
Haven't seen a beach out here yet, mate. Yeah, nothing out there.
But first, they've got to find the cattle hidden somewhere in the dense bush.
It's a little bit like finding a needle in a haystack sometimes in these paddocks that are this big. You find them? Not yet.
The pressure is on and the winds are up.
This wind's got a proper rattle up now. Oh no, only should have put a coat on. It behaves. I've got the flu already now. Wind's blowing up my kidneys, eh? I've got to land them. Cold, eh? I'm getting blown full sideways here, eh?
With half the morning already gone, the last thing Jimmy wants is a chopper on the ground.
All the water's coming in, but we'll end up with shit everywhere. That's the trouble, eh?
On a remote farm in Queensland, crop duster Brett Sommerlad is grounded again. The pump filling his chopper with pesticide has broken a seal.
What do you want to do, Steve-O? Undo all these taps. It's got to get a 10 mil, 13s for there.
They know how to fix it, but there's one problem. Steve forgot the socket set.
I don't know why you didn't have a toolbox in the truck for.
Brett hopes a local farmer can help.
Yeah, Gavin, it's Brett Sommerlad, mate. How you going? We're just stuck up the back here on a hill. No, we normally need a socket set to pull this off, but he hasn't got it in the truck today.
I'll get the neighbour to meet you there or get someone to meet you there. Will that be okay?
Yeah, no, that'll be all right. Thank you. Lost a fair bit of time already. You get a bit pissed off with it, but that's just the way it is.
Finally, the cavalry arrives.
Hey. Just another challenge, eh? Gentle as we put her in. I think it's in.
With the seal replaced, the pesticide can be mixed and pumped into the chopper.
First load mixed up, only a couple of hours late, but we're right.
Brett can start the most challenging and dangerous job of the week.
No power lines where you're going over here? Yeah, full of bloody wires. Yeah, we'll just keep an eye on them, mate. Yeah. No, I'll just go steady. Well, yeah, we want to have a cup of tea later on, eh? I will do. Have one now, too. See ya.
Brett is hemmed in by deadly power lines.
Even though I've been flying here for years, just got to work out where the wires are and different obstacles.
Above and below.
If you forget about something momentarily, you can run into it. Can't see the wire there, but I can go them low enough. There it is then. Got to fly over these holes here, just got to watch the wire. That we don't. Hit some.
He's relying on a GPS system to tell him exactly where they're located.
Makes it easy for using a GPS here because I can use the moving map.
Suddenly, it stops working.
Can't see the bloody screen. Holy!
We're travelling
going over the ground at about 216 kilometres an hour.
Nearing Alice Springs, Scott Anderson is racing to get home before sunset.
Flying at night time is just not as safe.
His small plane has no radar. In the desert at night, it's easy to get lost.
So what I'm doing is I'm just adjusting the fuel flow to the engine to get it to its performance level that we require.
He needs to keep his plane flying fast and set the most direct course home. But then, Alice Springs Control Tower intervenes.
Extraterrestrial requirement to remain west of the Stewart Highway until advised.
He's tracking too close to a no-fly zone.
Our joint defence facility at the top secret point gap, which is restricted airspace, and that's what we'll just call it, that we can't fly over it. Looks kind of alien, actually.
Pine Gap is a high-security defence facility run by both Australia and the US.
We avoid the Americans-controlled airspace because they get really, really temperamental if you fly a Cessna over it. So we need to remain south of that.
Scott must go the long way around.
As you can see, the old sunshine's about to say goodbye.
At last, Alice Springs Airport is in sight, but daylight is fading fast.
Back on some landing lights, nav lights and strobe lights to light ourselves up. We've been cleared visual approach to join a right base for runway 12.
Visibility is quickly reducing. Scott needs to be on high alert. He's now sharing airspace with bigger, faster planes.
The air traffic control is doing our best to make sure that we stay separated.
William Extraterrestrial, clear to Alice on the 255, radial maintain 5,500.
So we've got our clearance to head on in. It's the riskiest part of flight, which really should get most of your attention. There we go.
Big day. Started when the sun was coming up, had a few little challenges thrown in, which is always good fun. No doubt we'll have a few more tomorrow, so now it's put the aeroplane away.
He's succeeded this time, but with tomorrow's packed schedule, it'll be much harder to avoid the pitch-black desert skies.
Fighting and wind, I know that.
Severe winds have forced chopper musterers Josh and Trev to the ground.
Terrible. I bloody hate flying in the wind, eh? A lot harder.
It's giving us a fair thrashing. You know, you're on the power, off the power all the time, and it's just what you got to do. You can't predict the weather.
Half the day is gone. 1,200 head of cattle need to be found, rounded up, and put on waiting trucks by nightfall. If the boys fail, their client Jimmy can't afford to pay for another day.
Time will tell. We've still got a fair bit of country to cover.
The wind has eased.
Good to go.
And the boys need to hit the skies.
You haven't seen anything coming down along this creek, eh? Nah, nothing, mate.
And then Trevor
Got a big mob coming up there, look.
spots the prize.
Another mob out me left here. They're running into the dam pretty well, eh? It's not looking as bad as it was this morning anyway. Oh, blood pressure's starting to come back down a bit.
Jimmy and his family get ready to control the herd from the ground as the choppers flush them out. It's a hazardous task.
These kids are sixth generation in the bush. I've lost my father to a horse accident, but you know, that doesn't deter you, like it's just part of the job. Probably is dangerous when you think about it, but you don't think that way.
Tail's not over them hills yet. One should be just back underneath you there somewhere.
For Josh and Trev, it's game on. This is the most dangerous part of the job. Time to enter the dead man's curve. At low speed, maneuvering inches from the treetops, they drive the herd forward.
I'm having a hell of a time with this wind, man. Keep it straight, mate.
At this altitude, even the slightest wrong move could be fatal.
Just coming in from the north. Look at them running back to the dam there.
Slowly but surely, the boys draw in the scattered herds, and the first head of cattle begin to make contact with Jimmy and his team on the ground.
If you just hunt the ones up the road to me, yeah, these ones will run into them and they'll piss off the right way. Yeah, that'll work.
But not all the cattle are playing ball.
He's not going to go anywhere. That I don't want to go that other way anyway.
With every head of cattle worth over $1,500, the pressure's on to wrangle every single beast.
Oh, there's got to be one.
GPS is blowing up.
In rural Queensland, crop duster Brett Sommerlad's in dire straits.
Can't see the bloody screen.
A broken GPS is making power lines hard to locate.
Wire.
You gotta fly by the seat of your pants, so that's for sure.
The near miss has Brett rattled.
That bloody pole over there, eh? Put the friggin' wind up me. I think I got a shock when I'll get all my glasses are all fogged up now.
To continue flying, he needs the GPS fixed.
Loose connector or something. It's not picking up the signal, so I just pulled the card out. I'll just see what it does now. Otherwise I might have to try another card. No, it might be right now.
GPS is back online.
Picks up one more load.
At last, Brett can finish this job.
We've got one more to do. Just keep powering on.
Steve can race to the next one. But on the last field, Brett spots a different threat to the crop, just as great as weeds. A feral pig.
Just got to see the corn just rustle a little bit. Down there somewhere. Done a little bit of damage.
Feral pigs aren't native. They're a major threat to the environment and to crops. Their eradication is a priority. Brett needs to tell the farmer.
I just radioed Brendan to come down with a gun. Just watch him, watch him. He's coming! He's coming! He's coming! Oh, a bit of excitement for the day.
Meanwhile, Steve has made it to the next location to meet with farmer Glenn Abbott.
A tank full of sun would be enough, wouldn't it?
For Glenn, crop spraying by helicopter makes good business sense.
It'll take me 3 days to do what we're going to do, and we'll do this in an hour and a half, maybe. Just a big time saving.
But to do it right, the chemical mixture has to be spot on.
I'll put about half a jug of that in. Yeah, right, eh? If you don't put the right amount in, it won't do the job. If you put too much in, you're wasting the farmer's chemical.
And sometimes it goes wrong.
Pain in the backside. It's all foamed up. We can't see what we're doing, how much I've got to put in it.
Too much foam makes it impossible to fill the tanks accurately and wastes valuable chemical. If Steve can't stop it, they'll be forced to abandon the job.
Let's give it another couple of minutes and then I'll shut it off.
We're going to see if we can find that little kit we need to fix up that leaking pipe in Arionga Clinic's roof space. Here we go, butte line.
In Alice Springs, flying plumber Scott Anderson has some unfinished business, fixing a water leak at a medical centre more than 170 kilometres away.
Let's roll.
But in these skies, you can't let your guard down for a moment.
Whiskey off, your distance earlier, and you advised that you are 30 miles Alice.
Yes, affirmative.
Confirmed you are 30 miles from Alice, or you're...
He's struggling.
30 miles from 30 miles of Lawrence Gorge.
No, it must be 30 miles to Alice, but he's got no idea where he is.
Somewhere in Scott's airspace, a pilot is lost.
He's probably guessing his location, which is a really dangerous thing to do in controlled airspace because then clouded where he is. All the other airplanes don't know where he is, that's why he is. Go up and go, hang on a second, this guy's struggling here a little bit.
If the pilot can't find his true location, there's a risk of a mid-air collision.
We're heading on at about 250 kilometres an hour. You can imagine the force of those two things coming together in excess of sort of 700 kilometres an hour of energy.
Whiskey, Roger. Lawrence Gorgeous 30 miles Alice, it's 30 miles from Alice, so advise it. You have to advise a different distance to position Alpha Sierra, the Alice VOR.
8 nautical miles to Lawrence Gorge.
Whiskey Alpha Whiskey, Roger.
Finally, Alice Springs Control pinpoints the lost plane's location.
Whiskey Alpha Whiskey confirming cancel clearance.
That bloke's going to get his balls kicked when he lands.
With the confused pilot behind him, Scott's ready to face his next challenge, landing on a remote airstrip.
At the moment today, we're going to have a complete crosswind that is pretty much straight across that runway.
Out here, a real risk is from stray animals.
Going to do a precautionary run across the runway, make sure there's no donkeys on it.
This runway also sits in a dangerously narrow valley.
An airstrip like this where you're surrounded by hills and ranges gets you a little bit more on your game, because if something goes sideways, you're not going to have a whole bunch of options to sort it out.
These old bulls are going to be a pain in the ass.
Josh and Trevor are racing a sunset deadline. A small mob of rogue bulls is stubbornly refusing to join the main herd.
Getting the wind? No, I can't. Bet these three.
Mustering these will mean pulling some extreme moves, putting them smack in the dead man's curve. A mistake here could be fatal.
And they're going down in the creek here somewhere. They're jammed up there, right? Look like a bunch of rocks, eh? Well, the mountain goes. Perfect. Oh.
At last, the bulls are with the herd. But the job's not over. One bull is refusing to surrender. He must be rounded up the old-fashioned way. Nearly 1,400 head of cattle are all together. Time to plan the toughest challenge of all, driving them into holding pens. But then, disaster strikes.
Yeah, the clutch actuator is shelf by the look of it, and can't disengage the belts. So that means you can't start it again.
If Trevor can't get his chopper back in the air, it will be impossible for Josh to complete the job alone. Their pay packets and reputations are now on the line.
Doesn't seem to be getting any power.
We would have liked to have been finished by now.
In Queensland, crop spraying team Brett and Steve are also in big trouble.
There's chemicals frothing up in the mixing tank. You can't see the level in it.
Steve needs to change the mix, and that means more waiting.
Be a little while, probably another half an hour. We don't want to be in a rush. Oh no, here we are. We got more chemical.
And it does the trick.
It's not frothing up down this end here, so I can just see where the level's coming.
He can start filling the chopper.
That should be right now.
Brett can go to work. He'll need to work fast and get the job done before bad weather hits again. It's been a tough week, but at the end of it all, Brett and Steve have a happy customer.
There we go.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
No
That's
worries.
be sweet. We'll see what happens. See what bits you missed in 5 days, eh?
Yeah.
Hope not. Oh, we're extremely happy to watch Brett go out and take all the risk. Watch the hard work being done.
Later, it's time for two old mates to reflect on their work
We're back home safe and sound, live. That's the main thing.
and run the numbers to share what little spoils there are.
60 loads for the week. Hey.
Don't have enough paint?
No.
Yeah, the clutch actuators. Itself, well, look at it.
At the 11th hour of the mega muster, Trevor's chopper's out of action with a jammed clutch.
That sort of doesn't really happen very often. Not supposed to happen when you're in the middle of a job like this.
If Trevor can't finish today's job and start a new one tomorrow, he will lose over $10,000.
I thought it was all my bad luck today. Yeah, well, you've just palmed it all off to me.
With the nearest mechanic a day's drive away, it looks like Trevor is grounded.
Seem to be having any care at all. Martha's on.
He's got one last place to look. The fuse box.
That's why it's getting up, yeah. The fuse was blown. That there nearly cost me $10,000. 20-cent fuse.
Problem solved. But with the sun low in the sky, they have less than an hour to finish the job. The boys begin driving the cattle home.
Cattle out here everywhere. Oh, you got to bring them back down this fence again, don't you? Yeah, right, I'll do that.
They've got the herd to the fence line.
Get the gate right in the corner, eh? Yep.
They now need to push them around a 90-degree bend and through a narrow gate.
For the amount of kilometres they've come, they've still got a bit of life in them.
If one head of cattle bolts the wrong way, the rest will follow.
Yeah, last time, Trev, they gave us a bit of curry here. They run back up the fence and then peeled out, wanted to go back to Bob's Dam.
The herd's breaking up.
And now they don't want to run back to Bob's Dam. Oh, no, you're going to have to get in there a bit. But bomb them, you reckon? Yeah, yep.
With just minutes of daylight to spare.
Running through there now, Trev. Yep.
The boys have won the battle.
All over, mate. Yeah, no, good job, well done. Got another day, another dollar, eh?
The last of the herd are in the holding pen. It's been a successful muster for Jimmy and his wife, Kate.
Everything went good, everything sort of went to plan. There wasn't any disasters or accidents. They did a great job, they always do. They always pull through and they do what's expected of them, and no, they do a great job.
The boys' friendship has won the day.
We seem to work together all right.
We don't yell at each other too much. Got it done now anyway, so no looking back. A few runs, definitely. We'll get home first.
Yeah, got to get home first after the last little episode.
Home safe and sound. For Josh, it's time to enjoy the important things in life.
Oh, you love your dad, right? Yeah.
All the wind's coming from our left to our right, which is what we could feel when we flew the aeroplane on down.
In Central Australia, flying plumber Scott Anderson is battling severe crosswinds on his final approach to Arayonga's remote dirt runway.
And you can feel how much it's bumping us around at the moment. And that's just all that wind hitting the hills and lifting us up and down. We're just pre-setting the engine up in case of the event that we need to get it up and out of harm's way.
Get blown sideways, and Scott's at risk of hitting plane-smashing terrain.
Definitely right on down in the valley at the moment. We don't want anything saying goodnight to us. We don't want to go running into that hill because that'll kind of stay up a little bit.
Come in too low, he'll hit the trees.
Now comes the next tricky part. While we're wiggling around, we've got that bloody tree line straight in front of where we need to be. We can get over those without grabbing them. If we can
gets hold of us and starts to turn until we don't want to be and we can't get it back under control. Go on, shear, come on now. The aeroplane wants to sink and buck. So get our footwork right. Over the tree line, which we are, and drop into it.
Another hazard, wandering livestock.
When donkey meets aeroplane, aeroplane loses. The flight, just get that wing low and land on one wheel. That's outback flying. You get what you get.
Now we've got the right tool, it should be pretty straightforward.
Now it's on to the medical centre to fix the badly leaking pipe.
Some electrical cables here we don't want to inadvertently cut because that would make it a bit of a tricky day. Done. Now we go down and turn the water on. All fixed up for now, so the hot water's back on soon.
It's amazing how often you use the hot water.
That's what we want, mate. Another happy customer. Keep them smiling.
Next stop on his job list is over 130 kilometres down the road.
The traffic limit express here, rolls 1-2.
But first, Scott has to tackle a notoriously tricky takeoff.
We've got hills to our left and to our right, and we've got a nice big bundy one straight in front of us. We've got flying speed. Might move around a little bit because it's a windy.
He's taking off directly into a cliff face. Suddenly,
you can see from our sit viz that it's all red in front of it saying not good.
He's too low.
What are you doing? Get that power up. We've got to expect the unexpected. No, tools aren't very far below it, so it shows you how deep in that valley we actually were.
Disaster averted. Scott must turn his attention to the next Outback landing strip and be ready for whatever challenges that might bring.
We're just going to fly back over Arionga just to let them know we're all good.
Next time on Outback Pilots, Grant Wellington teaches son Matt the dangerous art of cattle mustering.
The hardest 3 hours of your life.
Flying plumber Scott Anderson races the setting sun.
It's already climate.
And Ash Williams takes on 220,000 volts.
Slightly crazy to do this job.